Would help if I was live, wouldn't it? All I gotta do is just hit that microphone. Don't worry, we'll edit that out later. What's going on, guys? You're checking out an all new the RCWR Show coming at you for Monday night of November 19th. Well, almost 19th. It's November 18th, but we are going into the 19th, 2019. What's going on? Happy Monday to you guys. Sorry for the late start for those of you that's joining us live. Those of you checking it out on demand and on the downloads, y'all are good, right? Y'all are checking it out at your usual time, but I was a little bit sidetracked with some last minute stuff. Okay, so look, I'm gonna get a lot more into it later on in the show, but I want to let you guys know off the break that from here on out, with regards to our Monday night shows, they are now going to be running at most an hour to maybe an hour and 10 minutes, and we'll try to cover what all we can, and whatever we're not able to cover, we'll definitely try to do our best on the Wednesday show. Wednesday shows, I don't really mind going a little bit longer since we get to do the show at 10 o'clock. But there's a couple of reasons why, and one of them has to do with some of the comments I have been seeing on the back end the past 2 weeks now, and it ties into a particular topic that I had brought up on the show a couple of weeks ago, but we'll dive into that. It is wrestling related and all that, but once I kind of lay it down, I think you guys will definitely understand where I'm coming from. But for now, let's just kick on back and, look, Raw tonight, not to do a whole full-blown Raw recap and all that, because God knows there's a tons and tons of those already, but just going over tonight's Monday Night Raw overall, I would have to say it was a bit of a so-so episode. What's up, Austin? I would say it was a bit of a so-so episode. It was kind of one of those episodes, just as the wrestling fan, as the WWE fan, you felt you had to watch because you knew that, okay, this is it. We're setting the tone, even though we've got NXT and we've got SmackDown setting up NXT TakeOver, and NXT TakeOver is setting up Survivor Series. You're still kind of going, okay, well, look, this is Monday Night Raw. What's the tone they're trying to set for Survivor Series? Let's see. This is the big go-home show and everything. And it felt very, what's the right words I'm looking for? It felt so tonight. A couple of areas, few areas you really could have done without. You had a couple of decent matches in there, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with the motions over here. That's the best way I can describe it. But it was kind of interesting because I actually ended up being about 90 minutes behind on Monday Night Raw and shout out to my boy Shaheen over from Nuclear Heat Graphics. He's been helping me out with the new OBS layout. He's also been helping me out with the new show logo. All of that we're going to be unveiling on the first new RCWR show in 2020. And I'm telling you, when you guys see the new artwork and everything, you guys are going to be fucking amazed. He did a phenomenal job. And one of the side things that was going on with me earlier tonight was I was trying to figure out on the back end how to make sure that his graphics and all that was most compatible for what you guys usually see during the web shows and everything. And I had like a brain fart. So that's just me when I am behind the computer and it has something to do with technology, some type of software application or whatever. That is like, because I love learning. So that took up a lot of my time. So 90 minutes went by. I'm missing basically the first half of Raw. And I put out a tweet asking people what did they think about Raw so far, because I was behind. Had a few people reach out to me, and then others, if it wasn't openly, others reached out to me privately and, said whatever they wanted to say about the product. And it was kind of like, that bad, huh? And shout out to Lady K. Lady K was like, the last thing I want to do is influence you in any type of way. So go ahead, check it out. And then maybe comment. I'm like, okay, all right, well, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it was one of those episodes. It was just a little bit so-so. Key points, look, I actually was a little bit happy to see the Iconics back on programming again. You know, they got drafted over to Raw and everything. I was actually a little bit happy to see them until I heard the cackling in the ring, and then I was kind of reminded why I didn't particularly care for them for a significant period of time or anything. But they're kind of like those. Do they grow on you a little bit? No, I guess I actually deep down inside there was a little bit of a sore spot for me that I actually had missed them when it was all said and done. That was a decent tag match opener that they had. Again, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch. I wish it would have lasted a bit longer. I wish it didn't feel so squashes, basically. But this was all about the NXT cats. This was all about them planting their flag, trying to reign supreme, reign dominance and everything. As we saw Shayna Baszler, Marina Shariff, Jasmine Duke. They actually had got the jump on the Iconics post-match after Flair and Becky came out on top with the W and everything. And you would have felt that if there was anybody on the Raw roster that, you know what, yeah, no, we don't care about them. Let them go ahead and get their beat down. We don't really like them anyway. The hell with them. It would have been the Iconics, right? But, and we would have been fine with that at home. We really would. But, you probably would have had some, I don't know, whatever, some anti-fan just doing a whole petition and all that, change.org and all that for the Iconics. You'd be surprised. It sounds funny as hell, but you have people that will actually roll like that. But no, storyline wise, you see Flair and Becky Lynch coming to their aid, and you see that you're really kind of told up front early on during the broadcast, okay, this is the type of night that it's going to be. It doesn't matter the tensions, it doesn't matter the past transgressions, past beef, none of that matters. What matters at this point is Sunday. It's all about Survivor Series. It is all about representing your respected brand, and it is about brand dominance. So, have whatever matches you're going to have, but once it's all said, over and done, we're on the same team going into Survivor Series, right? Now we have to put our differences to the side and everything. So seeing that and what Flair and Becky had did, like I said, it really has set the tone. Now, we did get an interesting treat. I will highlight one key bright spot for Monday's Raw tonight, which was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe actually was a special guest commentator for this week. Yes, he was a special guest commentator for this whole 3-hour broadcast, and that was awesome. I actually had enjoyed that. And look, I want to give people more context because, and I can only speculate, right? It's a educated guess to a certain degree. We all know that with regards to Samoa Joe, off and on over the years of his time in the WWE, he's done guest commentating, whether it would be for one match or whatever. But I tell you what, I've enjoyed those moments when Samoa Joe has had the opportunity to be a guest color commentator. I've enjoyed those because he is, without a shadow of doubt, a very good talker. And for those of you that maybe have not watched WWE Backstage yet, which you really should, especially now with the news of CM Punk and everything, Samoa Joe, since he's been out with injury, he's carried himself very well on that show. And I think a lot of people, just seeing him for that whole hour on Backstage, y'all would be in agreement that, you know what, if Samoa Joe ever decides he wants to hang up the boots, he's got a pretty damn bright career ahead of him as a color commentator. He would just be phenomenal at that. And as I was kicking back watching him throughout the whole 3-hour broadcast, I was kind of given elements of, God, it was like Taz, right? It was Taz before he really started going the whole, hey, oh. It was before he really started going that whole, it kind of felt cartoonish route for me during his tenure in WWE. Whoa. It really felt like that. Whereas what you're kind of seeing him do now with AEW Dark and what he was doing in Impact Wrestling. You know, he was more just, okay, calling the action here and everything. But Samoa Joe, he kind of gave me that Taz vibe to a certain degree, but also at the same time, carving out his own mark in such a way where it's okay, he's not trying to be anybody else. He's not trying to, be the next Corey Graves or anything like that. He is just being Samoa Joe. He's just being himself. And that have flowed very beautifully tonight. And I really, really had enjoyed his work. And, I've said it off and on with regards to Samoa Joe over the years. Probably the greatest travesty to date with regards to Samoa Joe is that he's never been a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And it's probably going to be a case where it's never going to happen. And you could have made the argument maybe 2 years ago that maybe Joe had a chance, but I tell you, I was one of the first people to say on the show that, hey, for those looking for Joe to get some type of a World Heavyweight Championship run, is just not going to happen because sadly, the man keeps getting injured, right? And each of those injuries, the window of opportunity, it closes more and more and more. And, it's no different than Mark Henry. When you think back to the infamous one when he finally had became the World Heavyweight Champion and everything, and how much of a cool ass moment that was for everybody. Nobody saw it coming, but ecstatic is a understatement when we all found out as fans, holy crap, Mark Henry is the World Heavyweight Champion. Like, we say, what? And so for me, I if it was a case where Samoa Joe would have came to the WWE, maybe anywhere between 3-5 years prior, then yeah, he probably would have had by now at least guaranteed at least one run as a world champion. But at this point in the stage, and with the current flock of upcoming talents, and when I say upcoming talents, I believe at least one and done. He could be a one-hit wonder. I'm not talking about Samoa Joe, but I'm talking about as far as up-and-coming talents. He's probably going to be a one-hit wonder of a champion, but I see at least in the near future Baron Corbin getting a championship reign. And then you got guys like Bray Wyatt with this new Fiend gimmick that he has going on and everything. I see him probably being a champion 1 to 2 more times with this current gimmick incarnation, right? I'm looking at a guy like Roman Reigns. You notice WWE has quietly just been taking the scenic route with Roman and everything, and I don't know if it's gonna happen by the time this WrestleMania rolls around, but I just feel in my heart of hearts that by the time we get to SummerSlam, yeah, it kind of feels like Roman. And look, he's got a lot of championship reigns left in him, so as long as he can stay healthy and everything, but I definitely feel somewhere down the line he's gonna be going at it some more. Seth Rollins, say what you will, he's another one that he's gonna keep getting those opportunities. I could even see a guy like Andrade. I can see a guy like Ricochet. We'd be here all night just going over. Even AJ, I can see him having 2 more runs. Orton definitely has a run. But when I look at a guy like Samoa Joe, I'm just saying my personal opinion. I hope I'm wrong, okay? And if I'm wrong, unlike some podcasters, unlike some websites, I have the balls to say, hey, I was wrong, right? And I've said it before. So I hope I'm wrong. But it just feels like with the current injury history and everything, and with the current climate of everything that's happening overall with the talent on the roster, just overall, when you combine all the brands and everything, it just feels like as far as a Samoa Joe World Championship run goes in the WWE, it's not going to happen. If he's going to be a World Heavyweight Champion, it ain't going to be in WWE. It's going to be elsewhere, right? But as far as having a nice post-match career in the WWE, color commentating, that is definitely for Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe added a really cool element to it. A hell of a great upgrade from that Dio Madden dude. And we haven't seen Dio Madden since he got freaking taken out by Brock Lesnar, right? So by now, that kind of explains to us and speaks volumes as far as, and look, it's gotten to that point where like Dio isn't even mentioned anymore. right? It's like he just gets destroyed by Brock Lesnar, and maybe he was brought up one other time and they showed the highlights, and we ain't heard a peep about Dio Madden ever since, right? Look, nothing personal against him, but it ain't a race thing, because for me, first of all, that would be stupid for me to go with a race thing, me, a brother, talking about another brother. I don't know, because if anything, I was very complimentary of Byron Saxton. I said, hey, Byron Saxton, not for nothing, he's made leaps and bounds of improvement. Give him another opportunity. He's earned it. I even said, hey, David Otunga, he's been doing phenomenal work. He's acted like he's had some type of a chip on his shoulders. He's proven to me that he's ready to take the reins of being a Raw co-host, co-commentator once again. Give it to him. So to go in the direction of a Dio Madden, honestly, he didn't really bring anything to the table. Now, that's not saying he doesn't have a career as a broadcaster. It's just, as it stands right now, nah. I mean, if we're gonna pluck some new guys, give me Aiden English over Dio Madden. Give me any of those other guys that I mentioned. Hell, give me Booker T for that matter. Give me Jonathan Coachman for that matter, right? So Samoa Joe, that was very interesting. So I'm curious what's going to be happening going forward with Samoa Joe. You kind of have the impression that he is going to come back into the ring at some point, but given what he did on Backstage this past week, and given what he did with his commentating work tonight, is that really the answer? Like, are you really gonna rush so fast to get him back in there in the ring? That's up for people to debate, but that's definitely one of the bright spots for me with regards to Monday Night Raw tonight. I'll definitely roll with that. Had a great matchup between Seth Rollins and Andrade. I actually had enjoyed that one. That was pretty damn good. Sadly, though, we had saw the Lucha House Party get involved in that. There was some interesting stakes that were on the line, too, for that matchup. Whoever won that matchup was going to be team captain for Raw. So it was a great back and forth, but Lucha House Party, they interfered in that. And just when you thought that maybe, the reason why Lucha House Party did what they did was maybe they were trying to somehow form some type of a Latin bond or whatever with Andrade, but color commentators, credit to them, right? Hey, not for nothing, but Lucha House Party, they actually cost Andrade this match. They cost him the opportunity to be the Raw team captain. So, and Andrade was actually mouthing off to them about that. And we see him get a beat down by the Lucha House Party. Seth Rollins, of all people, coming to the aid and everything. And, it was a good match. And I even like the fact that storyline-wise, they had Seth Rollins say to Andrade, you and me, we got some unfinished business. Don't worry, we're going to lock it up again somewhere down the road for sure. Hopefully, we won't have to wait that much longer. Hopefully, this will actually be a rematch maybe next Monday, give or take. I actually wouldn't mind seeing those two go at it again. I don't care who gets the W. I don't. I just felt that it was an entertaining match overall. Really good technical matchup. It really, really was. One thing I'm getting a little bit annoyed with seeing is we have these rivalries or these matches that are supposed to be going down, and we've got people putting each other over, and I just really wish that we would kind of stop doing that, right? I mean, you could kind of make the argument, well, at least it's the babyface that's kind of doing that to a heel opponent, right? You don't exactly expect for a heel to always be so complimentary of the babyface, right? But I don't know, it just kind of clicked in my head tonight as I was watching Seth Rollins be interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and he was giving so much praise to Andrade and all the work that he did in Mexico and blah, this, and it's like, God, you're stroking him off so much, dude. It's like, damn, you're making me forget that you guys even have a freaking match, and like, what the hell is, for me, that just kind of irked me the wrong way. And it's a pattern that you always see constantly that's happening in the WWE. Whether it is a face or a heel, it's like they're always so complimentary of their opponent. You don't always need to be so complimentary. Just, we're going to get in there. I'm going to kick your ass. That's going to be the end of it. Bada bing, bada boom. We had a segment that was introduced to us. This is the part where, if you know your old school commercials, you go Lenny's and Dennys, right? Look up your commercials. Lenny's, Denny's. Denny's had presented to us crapola. Yeah, crapola is what we got presented with tonight because Dennys was behind the Lana segment that we got. Oh my God, that was very cringeworthy on so many levels. Yeah, bad enough I've never eaten at Denny's. I refuse to eat at Denny's because I remember, and look this up if you want a little something to do on your spare time. Google or Bing Denny's Bill Clinton Secret Service. Look that up. And Bill Clinton's Secret Service men, I believe it was either 1 or 2 men. Let's just stick with 1 for now because I'm pulling cobwebs from my mind here. But one of them was black. And I'm telling you, as far as racial discrimination goes, that's all I got to say. If you don't remember that story, you never heard of that story before, go out of your way, look it up. And I just remember hearing about that. And I just remember how upset me and my friends were when we had heard that. Not just me, but some of my friends and family members to this day will not eat at Denny's as a result. And you've kind of seen over the years that Denny's has tried very hard to do a new marketing campaign and everything. We cater to everybody. We like everybody and all that other shit, right? Whatever. But, besides, most people, they say, fuck Denny's. Denny's breakfast is some shit. It won't taste good. Go to IHOP anyway. But, leave it to a crappy breakfast establishment to introduce and set up for us a crappy segment that had involved Lana. So, Lana, once again, look, I get it. Everybody has an off night. Accidents happen. Some point you're going to fumble with your words. It happens to the best. It happens to podcasters. It happens to radio show hosts. It just happens, right? But unlike WWE superstars, podcasters, radio show hosts, they do not have a freaking script verbatim of every single thing that they're going to be saying. If anything, they may have a couple of bullet points, a couple of little words scribbled down on their pad of, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I go in, and they already know the multi-layers that they need to dive into when they're looking at that particular sentence structure, bullet points or whatever you want to call it, or just one word, and they can just run with that basically. But WWE superstars, as you've heard many times from talents that used to work there, about the scripts and about how they would come in and be prepping and all that. And so here's a case right here where Lana's lines were very short, sweet, to the point. All she had to do was go out there, rely on a Titantron, talking about how she had got a restraining order from whatever freaking city. I don't care. It's irrelevant at this point. Well, all she has to do is just point at the Titantron to direct the viewers and direct the fans in attendance. And you basically see this paperwork that she had got notarized by a local precinct, which says that, hey, no matter what, from here on out, wherever Lana goes, Rusev has to be 90 feet away from her, right? Well, easy, right? Well, she messes up big time, and I can't wait to see my man Matthew from Botchamania go with the captioning on this one, because she fucked it up not once, not twice, like 3 fucking times. And it's like, honey, are you that nervous? Is the Boston crowd really getting to you? Like that? Boston kind of felt pretty dead too, by the way, for the most part. But yeah, so yeah, she's setting it up. She actually says 90 miles. Rusev has to stay 90 miles away from her. And you're like, wait a minute. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, shit, I've watched enough episodes of Divorce Court and some other shit. I've never heard of that shit before. And you've got Bobby Lashley. He's trying to do his best to whisper to her. He's got his smile looking cocky and everything. And he, leans over to her and you can hear him clear as day. It's 90 days, not 90 miles. Or sorry, 90 feet. See, there I go. I mean, she got me so fucked up. But he says to her, you can hear it clear as day. He says to her, it's 90 feet, not 90 miles. And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Not 90 miles. 90 days. And you're like, wait, that still doesn't sound right. And she goes, 90 feet. And she tries to redeem herself by saying, oh, this man Lashley, he got me so worked up. He makes me weak in the knees every time I'm near him or whatever. But yeah, man, the crowd, it felt like the crowd during this segment were sitting on their hands, waiting patiently to see, okay, what are we getting here? We'll give this a chance, but we will shit on this if we're not feeling it. And it just felt like the longer it went, and I put a tweet out, I said something along the lines of 90 miles, 90 days, 90 feet, who gives a shit? This was 90 seconds way too long as far as I was concerned, right? And it really was. And I was very happy that we got into a squash match that Lashley had. No sign of Rusev tonight. And there was some weird, awkward kissing that was going on post-match. Now, some of you guys may say, well, what was awkward about it? What was awkward about it was it kind of felt like there was some type of a miscue between Lana and Lashley. Lana's laying on her back in the middle of the ring, and looks like Lashley's trying to tend to her, make sure she's okay and everything. And it was just a weird sequence that happened where she's kissing him and Lashley's trying to get back up, but I guess she was so lost in her face being sucked by him. It was, yeah, that whole thing was just, I was happy it was over and done with. I really, really was. And we saw Triple H tonight trying to have a rebound girl, if you will, this time in the form of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, great match, by the way, that he had with Drew McIntyre. I like how everybody is just going, what's going on with Drew McIntyre? What's going on with Drew McIntyre? I thought Drew McIntyre was supposed to have this push. I thought Drew was supposed to have this like big mega push. Like, what the hell is going on? Folks, chill. You know we got Royal Rumble around the corner, right? You know, we're still a little ways away from WrestleMania. Just chill. Please, just chill. You know, anything is better than what we have been seeing off and on with EC3, right? Just chill, guys. Everything will come together. WWE ain't forgot about Drew McIntyre. Just chill, right? But yeah, Triple H trying to make his hardest sales pitch to Kevin Owens tonight. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I just couldn't help but go, tell me we're going to see something where Kevin Owens actually says to Triple H, okay, so you're saying all of these things and I feel where you're coming from and everything. A lot of what you're saying rings true, Hunter, but I'm just curious, why didn't you come to me last week? Why didn't you come to me first? You know, you're coming to me after things failed with Seth Rollins. Like, what's up with that, right? If you have so much fondness of me, you value me so much and everything, you truly get me, why didn't you come to me first? Why'd you go to Seth Rollins first? Just curious. That would have been a really good fucking moment right there. Why the writers even, how they missed that is beyond me. But I'm like, I'm into the segment. I'm feeling it. Triple H was delivering on all cylinders. And that was the one thing I was looking for to come from Kevin Owens. I was hoping the writers were going to go in that direction, but they didn't go in that direction. But yeah, Triple H tried to make his hardest sales pitch. And, you know, he didn't get a definitive answer because the NXT guys were out there. There was pandemonium breaking all over the place. I want to say as a result of Raw guys, yeah, there were Raw guys that actually had jumped some of the NXT guys. And eventually we saw Shock the System, Undisputed Era. They actually had jumped Kevin Owens, and Hunter was yelling at Adam Cole, why the hell did you do that? Like, we were just talking, what the hell? And so, you know, you can't kind of help but wonder just the fact that storyline wise, Hunter verbally planted those seeds. Is it possible somebody's going to defect come that Survivor Series main event match, right? You know, you can't really help but wonder, right? So, and with regards to the Survivor Series card, I would talk about it tonight, but there could be one or two more matches that could be announced between now and Wednesday. So we're actually going to get into the Survivor Series card on Wednesday's show, right? Since we go a little bit even more all over the place anyway. But am I missing any other key relevant things? I don't want people, homing in on this match happened, and that match happened, and this match happened. Is there anything else noteworthy I should be talking about here tonight before we get ready to move on? You guys can let me know in the comments, as I am seeing what you guys are saying. And by the way, we are streaming live, a couple of different outlets right now. We're streaming live via our Discord chat room. We're also streaming live via the RCWR Show app, available in the Google Play Store, also on Spreaker, and we're streaming on YouTube. I do have a poll that's up. There's a poll that's up on Twitter, Facebook, and did I say YouTube? YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. There's a poll that's up asking you guys, what did you think about Raw this week? So you guys are more than welcome to sound off on that. And give a follow on those respected outlets too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And normally the Facebook poll takes about a couple of hours to really pick up. I'm kind of noticing. But I'm going to poke my head in there just to see where we're at right now. Just to kind of get a little bit of a early little buzz and try to see where we are right now. And survey says, let's see what we got going on here. I want to see the results here. Here we go. So we are right now on Facebook 50-50. Interesting. And on Twitter, see where we are for Twitter. Let's see where we're here. Where are we on Twitter? There we go. Twitter. Interesting. 26% of you gave tonight's Raw a thumbs down. 35% of you are staying in the middle. And 38% of you are giving Raw a thumbs up. Meanwhile, on YouTube, I'm not expecting much from YouTube because we didn't talk about that poll at the very beginning. But if you guys want to sound off while the broadcast is still going, you can definitely sound off. And then we'll follow up Wednesday on what you all had said overall about this week's Raw. But right now, yeah, voting is still early. I'm not going to even mention the polling results because usually we get a lot more votes that kick in, usually during the show. And then sometimes it's a case where usually mid-afternoon the next day, get to see what you guys are talking about and everything like that. So it's all good. But yeah, so interesting polling results so far, what we got here. I know we had the whole Aleister Black spot there with Buddy Murphy knocking on his door, trying to pick a fight and everything. So, that's actually got me a bit curious. I am remotely invested in that. I think those two are going to have a damn good match, assuming that it's not going to be a squash match. We also did see AOP in action, so to speak. We saw them brutally attack the hell out of out of Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Did we see Akeem and Razor, or Razir as I like to call him, beat the holy crap out of them. So it's nice that we're now slowly starting to get away from the Authors of Pain cutting their promos in their native tongue and everything is pre-produced and all that. And now it's a case where they're just randomly popping up, beating the crap out of people. I'm liking those elements. I am. It's very fucking solid. That just speaks volumes to me as far as now. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of a couple of weeks before they really make their presence felt on the Raw roster. But the real question is, who are they going to be attacking? Who exactly are they going to be gunning for? And if you're going to be coming after everybody, man, go to the very top. Go after the tag team champions. Why don't you, right? So, I like that element. I got to give Rey Mysterio a lot of props. The promos that he have been cutting the past couple of weeks, tonight was no exception. Yeah, of all the matches for the Survivor Series card, surprisingly for me, Rey Mysterio, Brock Lesnar, I'm actually looking forward to that. Just knowing what Brock can do against smaller guys and everything, right? We've seen a established history of him. He's willing to put in the time to put smaller dudes over, right? And I know he's got respect for Rey Mysterio, so no way in hell I'm seeing this be a fucking squash match. I'm definitely seeing this, Yeah, if I were to make a bold prediction, I'm going to say 13 minutes. I'm going to say 13 minutes is going to be your match for Ray taking on Lesnar at Survivor Series. But Ray's promos, man, he's been the MVP. He has been the MVP. And I think when you really go back and you just peep out all of the stuff that he's been doing, and now everything just basically culminated in the promo he cut tonight. Man, yeah, that's been one of the brightest spots as far as going into Survivor Series match wise. That's the one you're looking at going, yeah, he's carrying his load, to a degree. Heyman, Brock, they are as well, but Ray has really been shining in this. Will it culminate in him becoming a WWE champion yet again? Gonna have to wait and see on that, because you kind of can't help but wonder how much of a factor, if at all, is Cain Velasquez going to play into this, right? How much of a role potentially is Dominic going to play in this, if at all, right? So you kind of can't help but have those going on in the back of your head with regards to this matchup, right? But yeah, once again, we'll get into the Survivor Series card, and we'll get into the NXT TakeOver card. We'll get into both of those on Wednesday's broadcast and everything. Gino, what's up, Gino? Those 5-on-5 matches will be a cluster. That's why I wish they just keep it Raw versus SmackDown, but I do like them showcasing NXT. I do as well, Gino, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, brother. Hope your week been off to a good start so far. And anybody else that would like to do a super chat like Gino, super chats are welcome. Or you can support the Patreon page at patreon.com/RCWR Show and get yourself some access to some bonus audio and video content, great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. Yeah, I agree. And I still wish that the NXT thing would have been a surprise. I wish that it wasn't announced. You go back to that last Crown Jewel and they made the announcement. I wish it wasn't, right? And you're absolutely right. And then also notice that you got all these matches where this champion is facing this champion and is facing this champion. It's like, but no titles are on the line. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. And yet we got Brock kind of off doing his own thing, right? Because like when you really stop and think about it, kind of interesting that Brock basically damn, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because you essentially have kind of two champions on SmackDown, but like not really, because for the sake of the argument, like Lesnar quit SmackDown, right? Because so he could solely focus on Ray and everything. And we never really did get some type of litigation paperwork, some type of counter from Stephanie and, other people to, what I'm saying? Like, we never did officially get that. Very interesting right there. Not even a little something from Triple H, who in the past, before he had his program with Lesnar and everything, even he was kind of involved from the whole paperwork aspect, legal shit with Lesnar. So the fact that we're here where we are, and like, okay, so we're not seeing Lesnar take on Wyatt, taking on freaking Adam Cole. I mean, that would be a very interesting match in itself. The hell with it being for a title, just all those champions. Let's see what's up, right? Just very, very interesting, the dynamics that's going on. Yeah, Gino, I'm feeling it. It's probably gonna be a little tiny bit of a clusterfuck, man. But I'm definitely gonna go into this with my eyes wide open and just be like, okay, I'm not looking for anything bad. Just what do you got? Entertain me, make me go, oh shit, right? And I'm telling you, man, whatever it is, when it comes to these takeover shows, it seems like normally the main roster steps their game up. So I'm expecting big things for Survivor Series this year. I really, really am. And then you got those reports floating around, take it with a grain of salt. But, look, if it happens, that would be a very nice surprise. But you got the reports floating around that possibly Triple H is going to be part of Team NXT. So now you can't help but wonder, well, is something going to develop between now and possibly Friday Night SmackDown, or going into the Survivor Series pre-show where maybe somebody's going to be attacked or whatever and Hunter slides in that way? Like, is that how we're maybe going to do things, right? So You know, I think they're going to do their very best though to pull out all the stops, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I can't wait to go over the card and give you guys some predictions. But I don't really think there's anything else as far as Raw tonight that we really need to talk about. If you guys want me to circle back on something, or you want to pick my brain on something in particular, I'd be more than happy to do so. Look, the Humberto kid taking on, who was it? Carl Anderson. That was actually decent. I do want to give an honorable mention to that and everything. And I like that Street Profits and all of that is continuing, right? So, you know, that's gelling pretty well. Humberto's got a nice look. You know, I know he's getting a little bit of flap online from people, but he's got a great look. He's hitting all those age demographics. He's meeting the genders, especially with the ladies of all ages. You got those older ladies that like them young boy toys. You've got the teenagers, you know, because he fits that whole new kids on the block, you know, type of vibe or whatever. A teen idol heartthrob. He's got that vibe down. So, you know, I know people are kind of looking at him and they're like, man, too goddamn babyface. Nah, man, he is exactly, look, you know, for the people that are saying this, you know, I hope that they've been to enough of these WWE shows where they know, like, you know, you go to a decent amount like I have, you know, the age demographics, a lot of young girls, man, a lot of young girls be checking out. They love their guys. They love their guys. I'm telling you, few times I went, women of all ages were screaming like a mofo for Randy Orton. Like a mofo for Randy Orton, man. I'm telling you. Sick. Just sick. But I'll tell you what, let's get into some sponsors. I want to get into some sponsor shout outs. We can also get into some Patreon shout outs. And then I do want to tell you guys some important stuff about what's going on with the Monday shows going forward. Some of you may look at this as a little bit of bad news. And then some of you guys may actually look at this as good news, right? But I'll explain in just a hot minute. But right now, I do want to take the time out and I want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, because without their kind monthly contributions, content like what you're checking out right now, you know, we probably would fucking be going the pay route, basically, you know, pay per episode or whatever. We would not make it be so accessible as it is currently. And that's the God's honest truth. And I don't say that in such a way where it's like, you know, being a dick or anything like that. It's just when you've been doing the show for the amount of time that I've been doing the show, and then you got to deal with show expenses and equipment and all that other shit. You know, it's kind of like what I had said on Twitter recently when I had went to the Blick store and I was getting the art supplies and everything. It was, you know, hey, look, you know, shit like this, shit like everything else. When it comes to doing stuff for the show, doing stuff for our listeners, 95.9% of the time, me and the missus are coming out of our pockets to make it happen. You know, once in a while, you got that little 5% that, okay, we're getting shit for free or whatever, but 95.5% of the time, shit's coming out of our pocket. So our Patreon members, we do love and appreciate them tremendously. Shout out to John Krauser. John, I love the new artwork that's going on for your new Brain Freak live show in Chicago. Looking forward to, actually, I have that information now, so we can actually begin promoting that, because he now has the dates and ticket information available for that. If you guys are interested, you're going to be in the Chicago area, or you know some friends, family that's going to be in the Chicago area next month in December, show some love and go check out John Krauser. The tickets, once again, everything is still the same. The tickets are going to be so affordable, it's not even funny. So he's going to be doing it for 3 Saturdays in December. He's going to be doing it on the 27th, on the 7th, December 7th, Saturday, December 21st, and Saturday, December 28th. Time is the same, 8:30 p.m. That's Chicago time. And the tickets, man, very, very freaking affordable. Once again, he's going to be there at the Brain Freak Holiday Show Special. It's going to be held at the Second City. And the tickets, $13 standard, $11 if you are a college student with valid ID, $7 if you are a SC Training Center student. So it's going to be at the Matt Studio Theater, 3rd floor, 230 West North Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60614. So shout out to John Krauser, and love you, my friend. I can't wait to hang out with John. I made the announcement a couple of weeks ago, but there's a couple of other things that's brewing with regards to C2E2. But I have been invited to cover C2E2 as part of the press media. And me and John, he was like, "Oh man, you're actually coming out?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming out there." He's like, "Oh man, that's so freaking cool. He's like, we gotta hang out, gotta get some drinks." Like, yeah, for sure, definitely. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with John, looking forward to hanging out with Mish from Wrestling Soup, Don Tony from the Don Tony Kevin Castle show. Shout out to you, my friend. Also, I think Joey Numbers from Wrestling Soup is going to be there as well. So it's going to be Julian Cannon from the Wrestling Court. It's going to be fucking awesome. Looking forward to it. And also get into some more shout outs here. I just said Mish. Shout out to Mish, Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to also, who else we got in here? Sean Kenter, Justin Stock, Tony Bing Gaming. You want the latest in all things Marvel, video gaming? Check out Tony Bing. He's got a great YouTube channel and a Patreon paywall. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Freddie, hit me up, man. I want to know you're doing okay. Ain't heard from you in a good minute. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. And shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Couple of sponsors to shout out. Not that many for this week. We're going to add 2 new ones into the show this Wednesday, though. Bear with me. Appreciate you guys' patience. Shout out to IamCanary.com. Life can be so unpredictable. Better to be prepared for any situation than be sorry. Even if you can't do it yourself, I Am Canary can. They have created a product that will help anyone send a crucially important message in case of an emergency or accident in life. They got great affordable plans. And check this out. They have had since 2018 over 12,000 users. So you're in good hands, man. Check it out. IamCanary.com. Shout out to the good people behind the movie President Evil. Just days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. Shout out to SHEABoo.com for all natural best skincare products, all made from natural organic oils and shea butter. Truly the best vegan skincare products on earth. SHEABoo.com. Shout out to them. Also shout out to our kind folks over at Sharpen.net. Sharpen, spelled S-H-R-P-N, Sharpen.net, helps you meet your financial goals with well-documented videos. Sharpen is aimed at anyone who wants to sharpen their skills, avoid rising tuition costs, and transform their lives by becoming the best version of themselves. Self-education is a supplement rather than a substitution. Take advantage of every opportunity. Fill in the gaps left behind by traditional education. There is more to learning outside of courses, curriculum, and lectures. So check them out. Also, I think that might be it, actually. Let me just double check. And yeah, that is all of our sponsors. Oh, Leafy Assets. Can't believe I almost forgot about them. We can't forget about Leafy Assets. If you are a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically help you grow your business. LeafyAssets.com, a proud sponsor of the RCWR show. Every time I'm like just minding my own business, they are always so complimentary throughout social media and everything. They really appreciate the work that we do for them. Love you guys tremendously. So yeah, I love my hoodie, man. I love my hoodie. It's my somewhat Justice League hoodie, Gino. So let's address the elephant in the room here. So I said at the top, teased it a couple of minutes ago. All right, so good news, bad news, depending on how you want to look at this. So from here on out, the Monday night shows are now going to be running anywhere between an hour to maybe an hour and 10 minutes long. The reason being, the past 2 weeks, in all my years of doing podcasting, I've been doing podcasting since 2011, right? And, I had a really soulful conversation with the missus about this earlier tonight, because that's how much it had bothered me. And usually when something bothers me, You know, I go to her for guidance because she knows me in and out, and she can usually bring up something that I didn't even consider. And so ever since we did the one episode about Jordan Mouse, there has been really, yeah, I wish I could show them all to you, you know, but I just deleted them. There's been really bad comments that has come my way. There has been nasty messages that has come my way. And I mean, take your pick, whether it's somebody calling me a Uncle Tom, or somebody saying that I'm betraying my own race, I'm betraying my own people. And I mean, you go back and you listen to that episode that's in question, and I was very adamant that there was enough blame to go around on all sides. And I pleaded my case as far as how I felt Jordan Mouse should have addressed the situation with regards to that whole t-shirt thing and everything. And I even had prefaced it before diving into it. I said, look, you know, if you don't agree with some of the things that I say, that's fine, but afford me the courtesy, you know, just as I always do my best to be respectful to our listeners. You know, it's like, seriously, when have you ever heard me, you know, make fun of a listener? Whenever you ever heard me call a listener stupid, you know, a dumbass, or, you know, shut the fuck up, or, you know, make fun of how they look or shit like that? I've never done anything like that, you know, because first of all, I'm not a kid. I'm a grown ass man. I'm creeping up on 40, right? I'm turning 39 next month, but yeah, 40 is creeping up, right? I'm trying to work on a wedding. I'm trying to, you know, work on having kids. And I hope that I'm in a position where, you know, 15, 20 years from now, I'm still having fun doing this, right? But even though I prefaced it the way that I prefaced it, I still had people that took it upon themselves to come at me a certain way. And these were all black people. And I just couldn't help but shake my head and, you know, and just be in disbelief that some people, you know, and my girl said it best. She said, you know, there's 3 things that you got to be careful talking about, which is religion, politics, race relations, because unfortunately it brings out the wrong type of people. Unfortunately, it brings out the type of people that is what they are fixated on, you know, especially when they can see key elements that applies to their narrative that they're trying to spin out there and everything like that. And you guys got to give me a lot of credit. There used to be a time on this show where we talked about politics, but I've had listeners privately say, you know, hey man, you know, look, I'm not paying for content or, you know, making donations or anything like that. You know, I'm just telling you as a casual listener, I don't like hearing the talk of politics. So as a result of that, okay, well, the talk of politics, that's going to go to our Patreon shit. But, you know, after reading some of the comments that I had received privately over the course of the past 2 weeks, you know, where I am right now is, okay, you know, you guys want a show that just basically talks about wrestling? You know, to my credit, I've done that. You know, I'll give you a little bit of side banner here and there. And the only reason why I went into the whole Mouse situation was because it was a wrestler. If it wasn't for him being a wrestler, I wouldn't even dive into it, right? But since we've got people that are so passionate about and they don't know how to be respectful, I'm sorry, you know, to those that are doing it right, that are commenting right, and, you know, they're doing it right. You know, y'all aren't causing any ruckus or anything like that. You guys are the victims out of this, sadly, because of a few bad apples. And I know some people will say, well, Lee, you shouldn't do it like that, man. You should be able to freely talk about what you want to be able to talk about on your show. And, you know, but, you know, I will have you know that I have people that have been stalking my content for years, and they just don't know how to let bygones be bygones. They, you know, I don't sleep at night thinking about them, but obviously some of these people, they sure as hell be thinking about me. And anytime something comes up dealing with politics or race relations or whatever, it's like their fuel to just, I don't know. I don't know. For some people, it just brings out the worst. And whether it's people I haven't seen in a couple of years that's commenting, or it's just the weirdest people that's just coming out of the woodworks, it's just put me in a position where I've just said, okay, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not interested in going into those topics. So from here on out, anything that has to do, I don't care if it involves a wrestler or not. If it ties into politics, if it ties into religion, if it ties into race relations, sorry, we're bringing it up on the Patreon show. And not for nothing, but man, we've got like, I don't know how many hundreds of hours of content over on the Patreon page. We've got so many exclusive shows that's over there on the Patreon wall. And that's a beautiful thing I love about doing the shows on Patreon. And this ain't a shameless plug or anything like that. This is just speaking straight up from the heart. This is just straight up Lee Sanders, the man himself, not the podcaster talking. It's just the man himself. The thing that I like most about doing the content that we do, because it's me and the missus. The thing that I like the most about doing the content on Patreon is that everyone is so respectful. Everyone is so well-rounded. They are mentally sound. They also help dictate how we're going to function in shaping these shows. They let us know, hey, can you bring this up? Curious what your thoughts on this? Hey, what are your thoughts? They really help structure the show. From the minute that we say, hey, we're getting ready to record, what's some topics you want us to get into, wrestling or non-wrestling related, and they help us go there. And, the biggest joy I get is getting private messages from some of our Patreon members, and they tell me certain things just in a conversation. Like Justin is a good example. We did a wrestling with the topics over the weekend, and we had talked about pizza. And I talked about my love for rediscovering a particular pizza franchise brand. And somehow we got into the talk of Pizza Hut. And Justin earlier today was like, hey, with regards to Pizza Hut, nah, they're still doing XYZ. And it's like, it's stuff like that I love. But the most important thing that I love above all else is that over on Patreon, everyone is respectful, even when there's disagreement. Everyone is respectful. Everyone is cordial, and it really feels like a tight-knit family. I've got Patreon members that are going through some personal shit, and they've needed somebody to talk to, and I've been there for them. Whether they just needed somebody to talk to and vent some shit, I've been there from there. I've been able to lend the ear if shit has been on my mind. See, that's something that I don't give on these free-for-all shows, and that's not a slap in the face to you guys. I do tremendously appreciate you guys that check out the shows every single week. But we're at that point now where I'm seeing with my own two eyes, that we're at that point now where sadly, there's some things that we're just not going to be able to talk about without some type of ramification. And I'm not interested in that. If you ask me what I want most out of doing these shows, I want everybody to have a good time. But most importantly, I want for everybody to come away, feel enlightened, and look at a couple of different things that's being presented that we talk about each week, a couple of different ways, and then have a discussion about it. And we are just in this day and age where everybody feels, not all, but a majority of people feel very self-entitled and no respect. That's just the current climate that we're in right now. And I think even our younger listeners would definitely be in agreement of that from some of the shit that they've seen over the years. So, that's sadly the point that we're at right now. But yeah, I don't care if it involves a wrestler or not, if it ties to religion, if it ties to politics, if it, ties to race relations. I'm not going there. Anything that I have to say with regards to those topics, it's going to be for Patreon members only. So you ask me in a couple of weeks, hey, ACH had did blah, blah, blah. What do you think about that? No comment. Now, if a situation were to occur where I'm a guest on somebody else's show and they ask me that topic, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to give a soundbite for their respected audience. Because you know what? That question that person would ask me on their respected show, that lets me know that their listeners do care about stuff like that, and that it is okay to let your guard down and you are allowed to speak your piece. Whereas on a show here, I'm finding when we do try to go into directions like that, it's actually the opposite. So we're getting mixed signals here, but I'm putting my foot down and that's the direction that we're going. So that's enough about that rant. I hope you guys do understand. So that's part of the reason why the shows from here on out are only going to be an hour to an hour, 10 minutes long. The other reason why it's going to be short on Mondays is because I have such a short turnaround Monday nights. Raw doesn't go off until 11. And then, doing a 90-minute, almost 2-hour show, and then I've got to edit it, I've got to clean it up, and, at least make it halfway done to the point I can come in Tuesday night after work and then finish uploading it, cleaning it up, and all that other jazz. So before tonight, I wasn't getting into bed until almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And I've got to get up for work at 5:45. Yeah, nah. I'm not interested in that. I'm not getting enough sleep. So, all of those reasons combined, that's why we're going to start doing the show like we're doing it beginning now, going forward. So like I said, from here on out, we're doing an hour 10. That's it. The Wednesday shows, I don't have a problem. Wednesday shows, you check those out enough. We're doing AEW, we're doing NXT, we're talking Impact Wrestling, we're going a little bit all over the place. The Wednesday night shows, I don't mind if that show goes up to 2 hours. I do not mind it if it goes up to midnight. I'm down with that, right? But the Monday night shows from here on out, nah, we ain't doing no more 2+ hour shows. No, hour 10. Couple of little news items I want to speak upon before we get ready to wrap it up here tonight. As you probably had heard, look, 2K, they had all their social media pages get hacked over the weekend, right? And I actually was up as this was going on. As a matter of fact, I think I was painting as this was going down. By the way, I do appreciate those of you that left the kind words for the beginning of our new series, Painting with Lee. What I did on episode 1 was just basically the canvas drawing layout for the Bray Wyatt joint we're doing for our Patreon member Freddie. And it was a great 2-hour session. Check that out. After you get done with this, go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. I was playing music, talking. It nice banter, interacting with some of the people that were hanging out. And that's something that we're basically going to be doing on weekends. So basically Friday night, Saturday night, late nights, that's when we're going to be doing it. But pretty sure it had went down the 2K hack as I was painting or trying to paint and everything. So a pro AEW fan hacked successfully into the Twitter, the Facebook, 2K Sports accounts, WWE 2K Sports, and was leaving all kinds of AEW stuff. Posted images of the infamous Paige from her sex video, the stuff on her face, the championship, all that good jazz and everything. And, I just couldn't help but look at that and say, man, first thing that clicked in my mind, the password must have not been that strong. It must have not been that tight fucking encrypted for some shit like that to happen. I mean, what fucking password was used? CM Punk rocks? Like, what the fuck, man? But yeah, seriously, that was just, I thought it was kind of cool. But then, call me an old fart, but I looked at it more and I said, I've done my share of gaming, right? To this day, I still do my share of gaming. I just had somebody ask me over the weekend, Lee, how you liking WWE Supercard Season 6, man? And I told him about it, and we were going back and forth and all that on the new features and everything, what probably needs to be tweaked a little bit, more improvements we think should happen and all that. And for me, as long as I've been a gamer, particularly as long as I have played the 2K franchise, I know we have a lot of people that have not played the 2K franchise in some years, but I think even you guys could definitely be in agreement that the one thing that is always consistent with these 2K games in particular, you have a lot of young people that play these games. And when I say young people, you've got people that are under the age of 13 that's playing these type of games, right down to the point. A lot of these 2K games that come out, there is a no blood option, and if you want to turn that blood option on, you got to really go out of your way to find it, activate it, and all that, right? So for me, I felt kind of bad, and I just couldn't help but say to myself, damn, I'm glad I'm not a parent of a kid under 12, because or under 13 rather, because man, most of these kids, they're staying connected to all of these outlets on social media, so that if something new is getting ready to roll out, or maybe just their way of staying connected with everybody, show off their creations, because that's the one thing that is really popular with all of these 2K games, for those of you that haven't played it, is the create a wrestler feature. And you're able to go in there, create your own little wrestler, and share it with the entire world. Everybody's rating it, downloading it, and if it's on point like that, yeah, Gino, it probably was WWE 2K20. It probably was that was probably the password. But you got people that are like so fucking, your creation is so on point that maybe it gets to a situation where, all right, it's been featured on YouTube on somebody's channel, and so there's a lot of kids that play these type of games. And one of my thoughts was, immediately, just I didn't have to marinate on this. It was just, shit, I'm picturing those kids that's under 13 going, what the hell is going on here? What's with this woman, and why is this sticky stuff on her face? I don't get it. And like, they're going to their parents or whatever, and the parents know what the fuck that is. They know what's going on and everything, right? And so I just felt kind of bad about that. And then some of the jokes that this person was making on those outlets, they weren't really funny, and not to get all landstorm, but, if 2K wants to, they can find out that person's IP address, and there could be some serious problems ahead for that person. Some serious problems. I'll never forget. I'll share this with you real quick, and it isn't long and drawn out. I remember many years ago at a site I was working at, we had a security breach. And it turns out somebody was going into a particular suite on one of the levels, because it was like a mixture of law firms and copyright offices, notary places like that. And one of the places that apparently kept being broken into over the course of a few weeks, somebody was going in and they were looking at porn. And nobody knew, like, what the fuck. All we kind of knew was, okay, this is happening sometime after this time. And eventually what happened was the computer, somehow they were able to figure out, like, okay, well, as far as like, the IP address, where this person is doing it, somehow they're able to figure out all the keystrokes that was being used. Like if there was any username, name information that was, somehow they were able to just figure out who the person was that was doing it. And man, that person had faced some serious ramifications. And let me tell you something, when you watch enough IDTV and you watch enough episodes of Web of Lies, look up the Web of Lies episode. There's two I'll recommend for you guys to check out, just to feel where I'm coming from and what all I'm talking about. There's two Web of Lies episodes you can check out on Investigation Discovery. Everybody has this. It's not a premium channel or anything like that. Everybody should have this as part of their cable satellite package. But there was one episode of Web of Lies where there was this young girl that had showed her boobs to someone that she felt she was maybe going to be going steady with. And the person turned right back around, called her a slut or whatever like that, and was sharing her intimate photos through out social media. The entire school that she went to, everybody knew about that, and it was really, really bad. And she took her own life. And eventually they were able to figure out, the police that is, were able to figure out who was responsible for her death, basically. Who was sending her all the hate mail, all that shit. They were able to figure it out. He was overseas, but they were able to figure it out. And then you had another episode where there was an infamous gamer. And this gamer was pulling pranks on other people, and you know, he was doing like, oh, there's a bomb threat and all this other shit. One of the times he did this hoax bullshit, it costed somebody their life. And so, trust me, you know, whoever this person is, depending on how far 2K Sports wants to take this person's life as they know it, oh my God, shit for them. It's just the beginning of the end for them. If 2K decides they want to try to pursue, right? But I mean, hopefully it doesn't go to that length, and it's just a case where they just say, you know, look, they just hacked in, they were having some fun, doing juvenile shit, okay, whatever, fuck it, make it encrypted stronger, you know, newsflash people, upper letter, right? Make sure you got 8 to 12 characters, upper letter, right? Put some numbers in there, put a special symbol in there, and you won't have this fucking problem, right? I mean, it's not that fucking hard. Anyway, a couple other quick little tidbits of stuff we can get into real quick. I don't mind going about an extra 5 minutes. I don't. I see we are at about a 1 hour, 11 minute mark. I'll give you guys a couple of more little tidbits, and then we'll pretty much just go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Also, WWE Network. I want to see if I can actually find that info real quick here. They're doing something cool this month. Okay, so one of the things that's going to be happening in the coming weeks, we're going to be seeing WWE Untold. This one is going to be covering Sting's Last Stand. That's going to be debuting on November 22nd. The synopsis for that: for the first time in his legendary 30-year career, Sting challenged for the WWE Championship. The vigilante Seth Rollins and more reveal the never-before-told stories behind what became the Stinger's final match. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm more interested in hearing about any possible, oh, never knew that, right? I mean, I've heard just about everything from Sting's interviews, and then having the front row seat and talking to him myself at Awesome Con. What was it? Was it this year? Yes, it was this year I had spoke to Sting. And then sitting in on his Q&A panel and everything. I'm most curious going into this. What's up with that? WWE Day of, the 2019 WWE Draft will debut before Survivor Series on November 24th. The synopsis of that: go behind the scenes of the 2019 WWE Draft and follow Bayley, Charlotte Flair, and others as they experience the career-changing moment of being drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. Looking forward to that. There's also going to be a new episode of WWE Ride Along on Monday after Raw. One car. Whoa, is it raining? Yeah, it's actually raining. Wow. One episode is going to feature Trish Stratus and Lita, while the other is going to include Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, and Apollo Crews. Synopsis for that one: on the way to Friday Night SmackDown premiere on Fox, Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, and Apollo take a trip down memory lane in Los Angeles, while Trish and Lita make a pit stop at a Santa Monica pier. So, and then we got new episodes of Table for Three. So, look, if you got a WWE network, great time to be a fan of that right now. If you are a fan of the new Disney Plus network, I do have it. I've got my trial right now. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving particularly, if you ask me what am I doing right now, I'm going back watching the old cartoons. I'm watching the early 80s Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Yeah, I'm watching that type of shit. I'm not in a hurry to watch the Marvel movies because I've watched them all, and when you watch them all once, to each its own, it just, for me, it stays with me. I gotta really be in that mode to actually want to want to pull up a Marvel movie like that. WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana, he's getting ready to release an autobiography. It's going to be dropping this holiday season. And one of the co-authors behind it is Kenny Casanova. He should sound familiar to you guys because he worked on Kamala's book. Didn't he also do something for, my God, the name is escaping me right now. Didn't he do something for Vader? Could have sworn he also did something, but he's building a really good resume. But the synopsis for that one, just to read it to you, this project's aim is to release an in-depth, comprehensive 400-page autobiography for a man who helped pave the way for future Latinos into the spotlight of mainstream American professional wrestling. A number of years ago, Tito's smaller 100-page book, Tales from the Ring, was released, finding its way to places like high school libraries. However, this book is a legitimate deep dive behind the scenes look at Tito Santana's time in the business, exactly in tune with what today's smart to the game wrestling fan is looking for. Topics also include growing up in a poor migrant family, football days in college and pro football, breaking into wrestling with Tully Blanchard, working in the territorial days, Vince McMahon's WWF taking over, his Intercontinental Championship run, working the first 9 WrestleManias, crazy rock star-like road stories, ridiculous and horrific wrestler pranks, ribs, his Strike Force and El Matador runs, wrestling in Japan, ECW and AWF, working babyface his entire career, knowing when it was time to leave, and transitioning into a high school teacher. So, if you guys were ever fans of Tito Santana, that's definitely something you all can look forward to. I'm gonna actually check out that book. I'm most curious, and hey, we actually might be able to, I don't know, I've always been a fan of Tito Santana, always admired his work. I don't know, maybe we could see if maybe we can get him on the show, at some point. We shall see. We shall definitely see. And other than that, we can definitely take a pause right there on that note. We'll dive into a lot more wrestling little news tidbits when I join you guys on Wednesday's broadcast. But for now, look, if you didn't check out the Painting with Lee series on YouTube, go check that out. Also, get ready for my next WoW recap this weekend because we've got, oh my God, that's going to be very interesting too. I don't know how that's going to go down, but I'm representing WoW. WoW is having their 2-hour season finale while NXT TakeOver is on. So that's going to be kind of an interesting dynamic. But my point is, go check out this past weekend's WoW recap that I did, because this weekend WoW is doing a 2-hour season finale. So definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be some good shit. But in the meantime, yeah, kick on back, rewind, check out previous episodes that you might have missed on demand, on the downloads. Y'all can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR Show. Shout out to our Patreons once again. Shout out to our sponsors. And if you haven't done so already, please do consider joining our Discord server, man. Everybody is welcome. Remember what I said earlier about the Patreon as well. If that's something that, maybe you're interested in, you want to kind of feel like you're part of a tight little family, patreon.com/RCWR Show. All are definitely welcome. There's no hating. There's no bashing. None of that shit. Come as you are. You're welcome as you are, is how we do it with our Patreon. So that's going to do it. I'm wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys Wednesday. We're talking AEW. We're talking NXT. We're talking Ring of Honor. We're talking Impact Wrestling. We're talking Survivor Series. We're talking NXT TakeOver. I will see you then. Ciao.